Hello, my name is Mikko.
And I am Eikka.
We are from Apocalyptica and we are here to tell you what's going on in Apocalyptica World 2013.
Wagner Reloaded is actually it's a massive project which is based on dancing, music, pyros, acrobats, whatever. It's a massive thing we did with Gregor Seifert, who's a very famous choreographer. We had a premiere in Leipzig in July, and we had the Apocalyptica on stage, maybe 80 to 120 dancers, MDR Symphony Orchestra, MDR Choir. So it was a really massive piece about Wagner's life. So it was a combination of Wagner original music and original Apocalyptica music. It was fun to do. The greatest challenges on doing this project was actually the way how we worked. The Gregor Seifert, who was also dancing one of the main roles, he had very clear script for the piece, how all the scenes will follow each other, how the Wagner will be born and when he is a kid, and so I got length for every scene. They were roughly like, okay, this scene is like, for example, like this scene is 4 to 5 minutes long, and this is what's going to happen on stage, and this is what's the energy should be on the music, and sometimes Gregor wanted to have a specified Wagner composition, and therefore maybe the biggest challenge was to combine Wagner music with the new music, because Wagner, of course, is a great composer, and many of his music is perfect, and there is nothing to add to it. So it was a combination of having what's Apocalyptica's role on the Wagner pieces, and how we can create music which is as exciting on the performance as Wagner original music, because it was all Apocalyptica music was new composed music for this project, so nobody never ever heard it before, and everybody knows all the Wagner, the biggest Wagner songs, pieces which were in the piece. So I think that was the biggest challenge, to write a score for the movie, which didn't exist, without picture. Coloring a picture, you just can imagine, but you don't see it.
I think when we first went to rehearse the whole band in the big hall, old Messehalle, like this convention hall, and even our rehearsal space was size of a small country. It was a huge place. And then to go to the place where the dancers rehearsed, which was equally big, a different location, then it started to sort of define that it's gonna be really huge. And then to go to arena where everything was double-sized. that was a cool moment.
That's a cool moment. But on the other hand, it was the very start of the project, the first meetings with Gregor gave an impression that it will be something very special and big, because what he was explaining, it was all the time like, okay, and then this scene, then we have this, there will be this head of the baby, it's maybe 5 or 6 meters tall, everything was like...
Yeah, but normally you don't take it for real when somebody explains it's like telling stories of your fishing trip, like it's this big and blah blah blah, but it was...
it was actually bigger than what he said. Because he said that, okay, the stage will be maybe 50 meters long, but it was actually 70.
Yeah, and it's somebody saying 50 meters, 50 meters, my ass, it's like, but it was...
It was really cool. Visual aspects, yes, they influenced the compositional aspect, at least that much. I didn't see any visuals, except maybe some pictures of the dresses, and I visited Leipzig once, the warehouse where all these things, the dragons and all these mechanical things were built already. I think that was in February, so I got a vision of the roughness and the visuals, yeah. So of course, if you know that okay, this is the big scene where it's dragon, somebody's fighting with dragons and giants. Of course, that's kind of a strong visual image. Even you don't see it for real, but you can imagine. And of course, that influences the writing, the music very much, because you know, okay, this needs to be on that scene where are the dragons. So what can I do? I need to do dragon music.
That's Veikka's passion, to do dragon music. He's always talking, I want to do dragon music.
Swords and dragons and...
Every time when you are not doing your role plays, then you're composing dragon music.
Yes. The difference between Wagner Reloaded and Apocalyptica regular performance was, of course, that we are part. In Wagner Reloaded, it's not our show fully. We are part of the bigger structure, and actually need to follow kind of the choreography and need to fill in a certain role.
Yeah.
Which was given to us, so we couldn't just fool around on stage like as we would like, because there were many more other important things happening action-wise on stage. But it was fun. It was interesting to do something different.
Yeah, and I think musically, quite often our own energy comes on stage, that we are flexible and things change, and we have this sort of back and forth kind of communication going on during the show, and we change parts and we tease each other playing it differently. But here, as I said, it was just to obey a bigger purpose, and therefore kind of it chained us, but it was really creative to do it that way.
Plus, what was fun, the things we were most excited, everybody was scared of before the show, was the first walk, when we walked on the stage with the human stairs, because that was tricky with the long jackets, and it was with the hoodies on, you were not able to see anything, and it feels strange to do something without your instrument on stage, which is has nothing to do what you normally do. Also, the other scary moments were always that we played on the top of the tower, like on 10 to 12 meters high, and it was very narrow. It was only 2 meters deep, and there were no fence in the front, and many times we had to run from downstage up to the tower with the cellos really fast. So it was like 4 floors. How many floors? Like 4 floors of really narrow, dark stairs, and like having 30 seconds to be up there and start to play. And these kind of things made it really different.
Yeah.
That was really different for comparing to our regular show.
And I think in the end, we got quite good with it, but everybody was scared for Perttu, because he's kind of a clumsy guy. Everybody was frightened, how is he going to make it?
Yeah. Another thing also, one thing was like playing in the moving vehicles. That was kind of tricky for us in the beginning. We were playing on the top of very high bed when people were pushing it fast, and we were playing inside the metal dragon, which was massive. It was also moving, and it had pyros in it, and we were cello players. We were inside this metal head of the dragon, and all these kind of specials, which were really fun to do, but something totally different. This was a great project in that hand, that we didn't need to fill in, not to fill in, it's wrong way said, but we didn't, it was the new platform. We were able to try new kind of things. We had these more acoustic numbers, more symphonical numbers, and it's hard to say which piece it will be. Which things will influence us, but also, of course, it was cool to do the live recording of this Wagner project, because the approach of the live sound, having the live sound developed into new level, gave us a lot of thoughts about the future album production.
And I think, of course, whatever we do, and everything influences to everything, of course, and sort of it was also cool after, anyway, we have been so long in a tube. It's kind of a dull word to say, but in a tube where we did albums, did tours, even though we tried to develop the whole thing, and we did throughout the process. But anyway, it was cut, and then we did something totally different. Even nothing would ever exist afterwards. That gave kind of a freedom to our minds that we can do so many different things. That if we now went to the right edge of the field, we can also go to the left or up or down or whatever, and that's kind of really freeing.
Yeah, and then the cool thing when you need to write music for picture is that you need to make the music for the picture. You are not thinking so much, okay, I'm making music for Apocalyptica. You don't actually care about it. It's like, okay, let's make music that fits into this picture, and therefore you write different type of music. And then when we perform it with Apocalyptica, it's like, oh cool, this works as well, this style works as well. So it was exciting, but it's impossible to say what will be, you know, the influences in the future. New fresh ideas at least we got a lot. Actually, we treated the live CD as an independent piece of art and didn't think about the live performance actually at all. And therefore also Gregor Seifert was not involved in any way on planning the track listing and choosing the order for songs. And it was because we thought, okay, if we it's a live CD out of the performance, it's still its only place where we are releasing this totally new Apocalyptica music. So we need to treat it as an independent album, that the album needs to work from the very beginning till the end, and needs to have a drama when you just get the audio and you don't get any visuals. So therefore we did it by our own.
And there is not all the tracks also existing just because of the reason there are some of the songs are left out.
Yeah, for example, all the original Wagner music, which was not really treated. It was no sense to release orchestra playing in such conditions.
Yeah.
Wagner, they would have killed us if we would have put it, because they know that, okay, if they would go to room and record Wagner, it was also a little bit stripped down orchestra because of the limitation of space. We had maybe 80 people playing orchestra, which is very little for Wagner orchestra. So,
and it was kind of unfair. They were placed because there was this big tower at the end of the stage in 4 stores or 4 floors, and violins and or the string instruments were playing downstairs, but then they were kind of spread out, that the horns were playing on the 1 floor and percussions were playing on the 1 floor, and trumpets and all the brass instruments were playing on the 1 floor. So it was really uncomfortable situation for them to play when they are not used to it. So
it worked live, yes. But playing record Tannhäuser, for example, overture of Tannhäuser with a smaller orchestra in such a conditions doesn't make any right for the orchestra itself. And so basically on the album there are the original compositions which were written for this. Even it's a side project, it's almost like a full Apocalyptica record. At least it's full new Apocalyptica music. Plus a little bit Wagner and Beethoven.
And one old song.
Yeah. And one old song, retreated.
Yes.
I'm personally very proud of the fact that now when we recorded live album, there is, in the Apocalyptica band playing, there is certain energy, which is, we were able to capture the live energy on the album as well, and it's something we have to learn more about when doing the next studio album.
Yeah, I think that's something we always aim for when going to studio to record, to capture the live energy, and it's so difficult. And now when recording it live, and then it was there, and it was like, oh, this opens our eyes. This is how you do it.
Yeah, but also the sound of the cellos, it's more cello-ish You can really hear the cello, but it still has a lot of power and edge from the amp and distortions. So there are a lot of cool things, and I think it's, the music itself, it's unique and exciting. At least most of it. It's impossible to say what fans will think about it. So you need to ask the fans after they heard it.
I would guess that this kind of is more focused on a certain part of Apocalyptica style. So I think there are quite a few fans who find it really interesting.
Yeah, especially for the people who are the biggest fans of the instrumental Apocalyptica. I think they could find this really exciting and very welcome.
You let us know when you hear the feedback.
Yeah.